Falconer X with the ACC down this year. Man, everybody is already signed off on 2022, I guess. They've already determined what's going to happen in 2022. Falconer X knows that the ACC's down this year, unless he's referring to 2021, in which I would say that 2021, outside of Clemson, was a typical ACC year for the past 4 seasons to 5 years, something in that range. But anyway, what happens if Miami does not win the ACC?
We keep working. I want it to be immediate, if not sooner. But I think that the opportunity is there. Hopefully things break right. But even though I think that Clemson is ripe for a decline, and I think that already they're a step down from where they were. I'm sorry, with Uyunglele, he's not. He lowers the ceiling. The floor is still really high for them, clearly, like we saw last year, but the ceiling is lowered, so the potential is there. And we want it to be every year. We want it to be, playing NCAA on freshmen, where you win 593-0. I want it to be this year that Miami wins the ACC. I hope that it's this year, but if it's not, we keep working, and hopefully, again, you have proof positive of steps made being forward, and you get a full cycle with this staff to recruit and restock and continue to raise the level of talent on this roster, because X's and O's get you so far, but Jimmy's and Joe's can take broken plays to the house. So we want to be able to have that and improve. And the goal is to win. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that it's not. But if we don't win the ACC this year, that is not a wholesale failure in and of itself by this staff and this program. Now, if we're up, sorry to anybody who's a Falcons fan, but if we're up 28-3 in the third quarter and find a way to lose, that would be the failure. So, again, just giving grace for the fact that it's hard to win championships, and we have a new coach and a new staff here for a reason, and allowing for the time for them to do what they need to do to get the success that we desire. So, again, I want it to be this year, but if it's not this year, we don't blow everything up. We stay the course. We continue to move forward.
Can't jump in if there's anything that I state that's not accurate. So I would say right now, first and foremost, when people ask me, is Clemson going to maintain this pace? My initial answer is no. And that's not even to evaluate Clemson. That's evaluating the probability of maintaining a program that's winning over 90% of its games and going to the college football playoff every year and going to 4 national championship games in like 6 years. That pace is not that it's impossible to maintain. We see Nick Saban, but it's next to impossible to maintain. So number one, just by sheer probabilities, they're not going to maintain the pace of winning the ACC every year, going to college football playoff, winning 2 national championships and going to 2 other national championship games in the span of 6 or 7 years. That's just not sustainable, most likely. So that's number one. Number two, if you look at the recruiting, Cam, correct me if I'm wrong, basically Miami's roster is built on recruiting classes that have ranked somewhere between 10 and 20 in the nation.
Yeah.
And Clemson's roster currently is built on classes that have ranked somewhere between 5 and 12 in the nation. So it's slightly better, but this last recruiting class, they're pretty much even. And if anything, Miami had a better per player rating than Clemson. So if Mario Cristobal is everything we believe that he is, and he's proven that to be the case at Alabama and at Oregon, then we're looking at 2 programs that are recruiting on the same level, if not Miami possibly surpassing Clemson's recruiting. And then we take into account Clemson losing 2 excellent coordinators, question marks in their place at the coordinator position on both sides of the football, versus Miami that's built a tried and proven coaching staff. They're on pretty even ground. I'd still say Clemson's better in 2022. I expect them to be better, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're not.
I think the program's better, and I think that in terms of overall talent, they're more talented from top to bottom of the roster currently. I think that obviously this last recruiting class is a hard charge towards changing that. Did have a higher per player rating. Had, there's no team in America north of 40 or 44 with the few number of recruits that we had, except for the fact that we had a top 5, top 3 per player average in that small group, that Spartan force that it might have been, the 15 guys who signed. So yeah, I agree on those points for sure.
And so if somebody asked me, or somebody told me Clemson is not going to win the ACC in 2022, who is going to win the ACC? My answer would most likely be Miami. It might be NC State, but probably Miami. And of course, in Miami's position, they only have to be the best team in the Coastal Division, which will probably be, once again, a marginal division, and then ball out in the ACC championship game. Whereas North Carolina State has to outplay Clemson for the entirety of an 8-game ACC season and beat them head-to-head to get to the ACC championship game. It's a tougher task.
Yeah, I mean, it is a little bit of a tougher task for them, but, that's fine. If I'm looking up FFP schedules right now, and we have, and I wanted to just check and be sure, we have Clemson this regular season as well.
Yeah, I didn't take that into account.
That is, I mean, this is the on cycle Clemson one. We got the off cycle one 2 years ago, the COVID season, when ACC was like, hey, it looks like Miami's pretty decent. Clemson's pretty good. We're making up the schedule as we go. I don't care that it's off cycle.
We want to make
them
money
together. Run me my money. Let's get that on prime time, which it was. And, even the hint of Miami being good, not even back, because back means championships, but even a Miami team that's like not abjectly terrible at that point, put them on the field together. Let's make it work. And everything. And we get Clemson in the regular season. This is the on schedule one. That one was the additional off schedule meeting. So yeah, the task is there for us as well. And that's a game that's again in Clemson, South Carolina. So yeah, but to be the man, you got to beat the man. And hey, we got to go there and handle our business.